Welcome to the deep dive, where we take the complex science and really boil it down for you. Today, we're tackling a big one in resistance training: how you spread your workouts across the week. Does it matter if the total work is exactly the same?
It absolutely does. And today's deep dive looks at how changing that weekly frequency affects your actual performance, your strength quality, and even how tired you feel.
Right, so our mission is clear. Analyze how frequency changes things when total weekly volume is locked. We want to find that sweet spot for quality without burning out.
Yeah, and this is super relevant because, modern coaching is moving past just counting reps. It's about the quality of each lift. The study we're really digging into today gets right at that.
Okay, let's get the source out there for everyone.
For sure. It's titled Impact of Training Frequency on Mechanical Output and Perceived Exertion of Resistance Training with Velocity Loss Monitoring. The authors are Zhaoqian Li and Ruixuan Li. They're co-first authors, along with Jintong Zhang, Zongwei Chen, Xing, and Junbei Bai.
And where can people find it?
It's in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine, the 2025 volume, number 24, pages 861 to 870.
Great. Now, you mentioned quality. This study uses velocity-based training, VBT. Why is that so important here?
Well, because older advice on frequency, it didn't really consider movement speed or quality that much. It was often just about load or training to failure.
Yeah.
VBT changes the game. It uses technology to track how fast you move the bar.
Okay, and specifically velocity loss, or VL.
Exactly. VL is basically how much your speed drops from your fastest rep in a set. So instead of just grinding out reps until you can't anymore, you stop when your speed drops by a certain amount, say 20%, like in this study.
So it's a way to control fatigue much more precisely.
Precisely. You maintain neuromuscular quality, you stop before excessive fatigue sets in. And because VBT manages fatigue differently, maybe those old rules about needing 48 hours rest, maybe they don't apply in the same way.
Interesting. Okay, let's dive into the study setup then. They wanted to isolate frequency, right?
That was the whole point. Keep the total work the same, just change how often they hit the gym.
And who were the participants?
They had 14 guys, well-trained, average age around 20, 21. They'd all been lifting seriously for at least 3 years.
So experienced lifters, not newbies.
Definitely not. Their average back squat 1 rep max was pretty solid, about 145 kilos. So these guys could handle decent weight.
And the workout itself?
It was always 12 total sets of back squats for the week.
Right.
Always at 80% of their 1RM, which is, fairly heavy work.
And that key VBT element?
Yep. Every single set was stopped as soon as they hit a 20% velocity loss. No more reps after that point.
Okay, so the volume, intensity, and the fatigue cutoff were identical. The only difference was the schedule.
Exactly. They tested 3 different schedules.
Let's hear them.
Okay, first was high frequency, 4 sessions a week. That meant only 3 sets of squats each time they trained.
Okay, short bursts.
Right. Then medium frequency, 3 sessions a week, so 4 sets each time.
A bit more per session.
And finally, low frequency.
Yeah.
Just 2 sessions a week, meaning they had to cram 6 sets into each workout.
6 sets of 80% squats, even with VL cutoffs. That sounds tough.
It is. And they measured 2 main things: the objective stuff, movement velocity, how many reps they actually got per set under that VL rule.
Like the mechanical output.
Yeah, mechanical output.
Yeah.
And then the subjective side, how hard did the workout feel? They used the RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion.
Makes sense. So let's start with that feeling, the RPE. Did doing 6 sets at once just feel way harder?
Unsurprisingly, yes. The data was really clear on this. Spreading the workout more, the higher frequency, led to significantly lower perceived effort.
How much lower?
Comparing the 4 sessions a week to the 2 sessions a week, it's about a 24% reduction in how hard they felt they were working.
Wow, 24% lower RPE just by splitting the same workup. That's huge for, sticking with a program long term.
Absolutely. If it feels easier, you're more likely to do it right.
Better?
But there's always a but.
Uh-oh. What's the catch? Training 4 times a week often means back-to-back days.
Exactly. The big question was, did this higher frequency, sometimes training with less than 24 hours rest, actually hurt their recovery between the sessions? We're always told heavy squats need more rest time.
Yeah, 48 hours is the standard advice often. So what did they find? Did recovery suffer?
This is one of the really interesting findings. No.
Very different.
No significant difference in recovery between sessions, regardless of the frequency. High, medium, low. They all seem to recover adequately by the next scheduled session.
So even doing 3 heavy sets at 80% managed by VL, they were good to go again 24 hours later.
Apparently, yes. For these well-trained guys, 3 sets with a 20% VL didn't seem to require that full 48 hours to restore capacity.
That really challenges some traditional programming ideas. It suggests you can train hard, or rather train with quality, more often if you manage the fatigue properly.
It does. But it leads to your earlier point. If recovery between sessions was fine for everyone, why did the high-frequency group feel so much better? And is it worth the extra gym trips?
Right. Where's the actual performance benefit if recovery isn't the issue?
The benefit wasn't between sessions. It was within the session.
Okay. So how the quality held up as they did more sets back to back?
Precisely. The number of sets performed consecutively was the key factor affecting their mechanical output during the workout itself.
Let's break that down. What happened in the high-frequency group, the 3-set sessions?
In that group, they basically maintained performance. Their movement velocity, the number of reps they got per set, it stayed consistent across all 3 sets. Minimal drop-off, lowest fluctuation, high quality throughout.
Okay, makes sense. Short session, less accumulated fatigue. Now the medium frequency 4 sets.
Here's where things started to change.
Yeah.
By the later sets, their performance measurably declined.
How much decline?
Comparing the last set to the first, their average movement velocity dropped by about 4%, and the number of reps they could hit before that 20% VL cutoff. That dropped by around 8%.
So even with VBT stopping them early, doing that 4th set meant it wasn't quite as high quality as the first few. The fatigue was building up within the session.
Exactly. The quality started to erode.
And the low-frequency group, the 6-set slog.
That's where the wheels really started to come off, relatively speaking. Quality-wise, it was the worst performer within the session. Doing 6 sets back-to-back led to compromised mechanical output across the board. Velocity dropped by about 8% by the end, compared to the first set.
Wow, double the drop compared to the medium group.
Yeah, and they were completing, on average, about 1.2 fewer repetitions per set by the end compared to the start. Still hitting the 20% VL, but getting fewer reps in before they hit it.
So much greater drop in both speed and reps. The quality really degraded over those 6 sets.
Definitely. It showed the most fluctuation, the biggest decline during that single workout.
So the big takeaway here seems to be same total weekly work, but if you cram it into fewer, longer sessions, a larger chunk of that work is done with compromised quality, slower speeds, fewer reps per set compared to spreading it out.
That's the core finding. Distributing the volume into more frequent, shorter sessions is a strategy to maintain higher mechanical quality throughout your training week.
Keep the speed up, keep the reps consistent.
Exactly. And this actually gives some objective backing to training approaches like microdosing or some variations of the Bulgarian method, where the whole idea is frequent exposure but managing fatigue by keeping sessions shorter or less taxing overall. Avoid that deep fatigue from stacking too many sets.
It's all about preserving the quality of each rep. The high-frequency setup here cut the velocity decline to less than 2% across the sets.
Compared to an 8% drop in the low-frequency group, same for reps less than 3% drop versus a much bigger hit in the low-frequency setup.
That's pretty compelling evidence for prioritizing quality via frequency.
It is, but we need the usual caveats, of course.
Always. What are the limitations here?
Well, first, it's an acute study. It shows what happens during the sessions, but it doesn't track them for months to prove this leads to better long-term gains. That's the next logical step for research.
Right. Does better acute quality translate to better gains over time? We assume so, but this study doesn't prove it.
Correct. Also, it was only back squats, lower body. We don't know for sure if the same pattern holds perfectly for, say, bench press or rows.
Good point. Upper body might fatigue or recover differently.
And the subjects were young, trained males. So applying this directly to older adults or beginners or women requires caution. Their recovery or fatigue patterns might differ.
Okay, standard limitations, but important ones. So wrapping this up, what's the message for you, the listener who's maybe using VBT or thinking about it?
If your goal is maximizing the quality of every single lift, making sure every rep is fast and crisp,
Which is often the goal with VD2.
right, then spreading your total weekly sets over more frequent, shorter sessions seems like a really effective strategy. It keeps the quality high within the workout.
Reduces that set-to-set fatigue.
And as a bonus, it actually makes the same amount of work feel significantly easier. Lower RPE.
That sounds like a win-win. Better quality, feels easier.
Pretty much. And that final provocative thought ties back to the recovery finding.
A 24-hour recovery.
Yeah. The fact that these trained guys could fully recover neuromuscular capacity within 24 hours after 3 sets at 80% with VL monitoring, that really pushes the boundaries. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, we can design even more aggressive, high-frequency, high-quality strength programs than we previously thought, if we are meticulously managing volume and fatigue using tools like velocity loss.
Opens up possibilities for sure. A fascinating study. If you want to really get into the weeds, check out the full paper again. It's Impact of Training Frequency on Mechanical Output and Perceived Exertion of Resistance Training with Velocity Loss Monitoring in the Journal of Sports Science in Medicine. The details in the tables are worth looking at.
Definitely worth a read if you're into the specifics.
And of course, if you found this useful, make sure you follow the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive exploring the science behind getting stronger and performing.